Hey everybody, this is Tom Swearingen, and I'm thrilled to be part of this year's Cochise gathering, virtually this year, and coming to you from Western Oregon. You know, I love the theme this year, Ride, Cowboy, Ride. And what would a cowboy be without a horse? I hear something special when a horse hits the ground. There's nothing else as magic as the rhythm of that sound. Could be a gentle clip-clop ambling down the street, or thunder at the gallop, all the blur of legs and feet. Doesn't matter whether barefoot or shod with nails and steel, there's nothing else I've heard gives me quite the feel. I've heard the greatest orchestras and a diva's glorious song, and choirs harmonizing like a grand angelic throng. I have seen the late and great ones, from Elvis to George Jones, those with voices that move and shake you deep into your bones. But I hear something special when a horse hits the ground. There's nothing else as magic as the rhythm of that sound. I've heard a child's first words, and the whinny of a newborn foal, the beautiful songs of yesteryear and classic poems of old, the echoes to the canyons when a coyote calls a friend, the gentle sound of evening breeze at daylight's peaceful end. And yes, those sounds are wonderful, and each speaks to my soul, but so does the sound of hoofbeats when horses are on the roll. When I hear a horse's hoofbeats, no telling what I'll find, with imagination running free, painting pictures in my mind. A future derby winner leading on the rail, a pony express rider rushing someone's mail, a finals barrel racer turning on a dime, the old country doctor's buggy arriving just in time, the desperado's getaway following a spree, posse hot behind aiming to hang him in a tree, the bred-to-buck saddle bronc flanked, just set loose, the proud Umatilla on a swift cayuse, a bulldogger and hazer closing on a steer, the Revolution warning ride of patriot Paul Revere, or the horses I grew up with when I was just a pup, Flicket, Silver, Trigger, and my stick horse, Giddy-Up. No telling where they'll take me when I hear a horse's feet, my imagination in the saddle just a-riding with the beat, because I hear something special when a horse hits the ground. There's nothing else as magic as the rhythm of that sound. Thank you. I assume you're clapping. I can't see you, but I assume you're clapping. I appreciate that. You know, I want to remind you or tell you, if you weren't already aware, that not all cowboys are boys. In fact, there once was a cowgirl from Nantucket who climbed on a bull and said, "Buck." She was dead set on 8 when they swung open the gate, but that bull had a different agenda that was aimed at getting her upended. So it didn't take long for her plan to unwind. Barely $2 in, she's $3 behind. That big bull was laying a hurt, slinging a snot and kicking up dirt, but say what you will, no cowgirl or guy has ever shown more guts or try. Which just made that bull perturbed. Actually, more like disturbed. He dipped to the left, spun to the right all the time, bucking, bringing the fight, then a duck and a dive and a big belly roll. That big bucker was out of control. Well, the cowboys watching all brace for the wreck. They're yelling, "Jump, girl, or you're dead as heck." Well, she just looks up, flashes a grin. She says, "Don't worry, boys, I'm just breaking him in." And with that, she buries her spurs in hide, centers up, and hangs on for more ride, which made that bull be nothing but ramp up trying to buck off its flank. He sucked left with a sweeping fade, and those cowboys thought sure that girl was made. But she cowboyed up, got back in position, continued to ride, still set on her mission, bound and determined to do all it'd take to gut the ride out and make the full 8. Well, that cowgirl was taking a licking. But you know, the whole time she's riding, that clock's a-ticking. And with the seconds about, 6.4, they saw something not seen before. She's fanning her hat and chopping spur, and that big bull settled, started to purr. With a hoot and a holler, she looked around, swung her leg over, and jumped to the ground. Not a half tick later, that whistle blew 8, and that uncovered bull returned to the gate. "Well, boy," she said, "that there was fun. That was a bucking son of a gun." "But why'd you jump off?" they wanted to know. "'Cause you had him beat, girl. You'd put on a show." "Oh, you're right, boy," she said. "I could have finished the ride, but, well, I got to thinking. I might bruise your pride. What with rough stock being a manly sport." "Oh, not at all suited to us weaker sort." The cowgirls who ride. Thank you. So I want to take you on a little ride adventure that is mostly just imagining what could happen if there was a little, shall we say, a little misunderstanding or miscommunication in the description of a horse for sale. The horse's new owner lie there staring up at air. Apparently he'd underestimated the bomb-proof pinto mare, for he'd barely stepped the stirrup and settled up on top when that horse gave one mighty buck and launched him to a flop. But now she's standing gentle, just as docile as could be, matching a dream horse description. Temperament 3. Bomb-proof. There's a word you've heard before, of course, to describe a ride by any one unflappable horse. So this a puzzling situation that he needed to work out, because bomb-proof's not a word that should leave any doubt about the nature of a horse's disposition. But doubt's what he had there in his supine position. So like any good horseman who's been put to the test, he got up quick to get back on to prove it was the best. For you go falling off a horse, the next thing to be done is get back on that critter, for the dang thing thinks it's won. It won't do your ego bad to prove you can still ride, and even if not pretty, you'll at least hang on to pride. So he dusted himself off best as could be, swung on up and glued his pockets to the tree. Now this time he'd be ready so he'd not get caught off guard. But that mare just exploded, and he was back on the ground hard, with the only thing remembered before he finally lost the handle is that somewhere in mid-wreck his head bounced off the cantle. This horse is bomb-proof, he thought. Oh, there must have been some mistake. So he called the man who'd sold her to ask him for his take on what exactly did he mean when he called her by that name. What must he have been thinking when he said this horse was tame? Bomb-proof, the man replied. "Oh, I never used that word when I described that horse to you. Well, that would be absurd. That there mare's a pistol, rank in every way. I was honest in laying it out for you, mindful what to say. Didn't seem to bother you none. You seem to know your stuff, and of course I didn't mind you couldn't pay me fast enough. I will say, though, I thought yours an odd way to decide, because generally when buying a saddle horse, folks check out the ride. But you just loaded her in your trailer, and down the road you fled, and, well, I remember wondering if you'd heard a word I'd said. Well, now I know you heard some words, but you got at least one wrong, because I didn't say bomb-proof, friend. What I said was time bomb." So the theme, Ride, Cowboy, Ride, reminds me of a lot of different experiences I've had and a lot of cowboys that I've known. And I'll share some thoughts about one in particular. That cowboy on the paint horse, a pretty darn good pard. He's been there, seen it, done it, through times both good and hard. He's been at it for some time, a good long stretch of years, rounding up calves and mamas and turning bulls to steers. He's worked in some big outfits, been boss on one or two, and taught a lot of other hands a bunch of what he knew. And man, have we learned plenty. About punching, but much more. Getting advice a wise man be best to not ignore. Taught us what it means to be a worthy friend in hand, about love and work and honor, and how to treat the land. He told us, don't just do a job, you give it all you got. You only go around one time. life's worth your best shot. He showed us the importance of keeping our word true, that if you make a promise, do what you say you'll do. And we watched him facing hardship with determination, and no matter the outcome, show appreciation for those that stand by you, that come alongside, ride with you through the humps and cheer you through the ride. One to ride the river with, that's his reputation. The kind you can depend on in that situation. I've had the good fortune of knowing good men, the kind you can look up to and hope to see again, not just for their achievements, although they're worth remark, but for how they live their lives, how they give a spark, kindling those around them to glow and grow and give, make the world a better place and show us how to live. I ask, please, Lord, for more friends like the one thought of now. Give me more just like them, Lord, and please, if you'll allow, a lot more years for my friend, so he can show us more what it means to live with grace before the other shore. Thank you. Thank you. That is to the memory of Trey Allen. Well, I think I got time for one more, and I'm taping this or videoing this right now in December, and we are just about halfway through the 10 days of December, the National Finals Rodeo. And so I know you're not watching this in December, but we'll just sort of reflect on these wonderful, wonderful days of the 10 days in December, the National Finals Rodeo, and a little tip of the hat to the Cowboys and the barrel racers that are competing for the NFR. Ride for the win, he said with a grin from top of bronc, nasty as sin. I'll ride this rank bucker till I hear 8. So let him fly, boys, swing open the gate. And with that, he and the snorting brute came busting hard out of the chute, commencing a stunning equine ballet, a spinning and twisting in most every way. The judges will sure be scoring high, he thought as the bronc took to the sky, his spurs raking neck with every bound, then sweeping to flank when coming to ground. He kept its pockets firmly affixed through whatever trick that horse tried next, lifting in rhythm that thick-woven rein. Bronc's efforts to pitch him strong, but in vain. Every time that horse changed direction with style and grace, he kept connection. That bred-to-buck devil matched by his skill, determination, strength, and pure will. But that's what it took to get him here, riding through pain, conquering fear, suffering wrecks that would stop other men, cowboying up to get on with the wind. Untold rodeos, each with their trials, hundreds of goes, thousands of miles. It's a long, hard road to the NFR. Best of the best is a mighty high bar. But he was here and deserved to be. The way he's riding was clear to see. A lifelong dream, 10 days in December, 80 seconds he'll always remember. So no matter who wins this battle or the buckle or trophy saddle, no matter the score the judges decide, he's a finals cowboy. He's earned his pride. To the NFR, the cowboys, cowgirls everywhere, ride, cowboy, ride, and thank you for inviting me to be part of this virtual Cochise Gathering 2020. I'm out. Tom Swearingen. Bye.